everyone had given up on him. The teachers, the tutors, the specialists his father had hired at considerable expense and considerable hope that had produced no results. His name was Lucas. He was 14 years old. His father was one of the most powerful men in the country. Lucas was the worst student in his year. Not close to the worst. Not among the worst. The worst. The school had called his father's office 7 times in the last semester. His father had sent his assistant to 4 of those meetings and had attended 3 himself, each time with the expression of a man who builds things and cannot understand why this particular thing will not be built. Lucas sat at the back of every class. He did not take notes. He did not complete assignments. He stared at the window. The teachers said, disengaged, unmotivated, refusing to try. Then on a Thursday afternoon, a woman came to clean the classroom. The other students had gone. Lucas was still there, sitting at his desk, staring at a page he had been staring at for 40 minutes. The woman began to clean. She stopped. She looked at the page. She looked at Lucas. And she said, not carefully, not with the particular careful gentleness of someone managing a difficult situation, she said it simply, the way you say something obvious. The letters move for you, don't they? Not a question. Lucas looked at her. And for the first time in 14 years, someone had said the true thing. His name was Lucas Whitfield. He was 14 years old and had been, for 9 of those years, since the first day of school, since the first time a teacher had put letters in front of him and asked him to make sense of them, the particular kind of failure that baffled everyone around him. Not for lack of intelligence. This was the thing that made it baffling. The intelligence was visible. In conversation, Lucas was quick and precise and occasionally said things that surprised people who had decided he was not worth listening to. He understood concepts faster than most of his peers when they were explained verbally. He had, at 12, dismantled and reassembled a complex piece of machinery in the school's engineering workshop, with the focused competence of someone who had been doing it for years. He could not read. Not could not, would not, the teachers said, refusing. Disengaged, unmotivated. He sat at the back of every class and stared at pages that had been staring back at him for 9 years with the particular hostility of something that refused to resolve into meaning. The letters moved. They had always moved, had always shifted and rearranged themselves into configurations that bore no relationship to the configurations they had occupied a moment ago. He had told his first teacher this. At 5 years old, she had told him to try harder. He had learned from this and from subsequent versions of this that telling people about the letters was not useful. That trying harder was not the solution to something that trying harder did not address. That the most efficient use of his energy was to sit quietly and wait for lessons to end, and to find other ways to understand the world. He had found other ways. His father did not know about the other ways. His father knew about the school calls. His father was James Whitfield. He was 46 years old and had built Whitfield Industries from a single investment. At 28 into something that employed 4,000 people and had revenues that the financial press described in superlatives. He was the kind of man who understood problems as things to be solved, and who had applied this approach to his personal life with the same rigor he applied to his professional one. Lucas was a problem he could not solve. He had hired tutors, 3 different ones, each progressively more qualified, each progressively more expensive, each producing the same result: nothing. He had sent Lucas to the best school in the city, which had produced 7 calls to his office and the particular language of educators who were trying to be constructive about a situation they found frustrating. Lucas has significant potential, the head teacher had said at the most recent meeting. But he refuses to apply himself. What does that mean specifically? James had said. He doesn't complete written work, she had said. He doesn't engage with the curriculum in the expected way. What is the unexpected way he engages? A pause. He asks very good questions, she had said. Verbally. And in the engineering workshop he is. Another pause. He is remarkable, actually. Mr. Torres says he has never seen a student with Lucas's instinctive understanding of structural mechanics. Then why is structural mechanics not helping him pass his other subjects? The head teacher had looked at him. That is what we are trying to understand, she had said. James had driven home thinking about structural mechanics and a 14-year-old who was remarkable in one room and invisible in all the others. He had not understood what he was thinking about. Her name was Rosa Mendes. She was 41 years old and had been cleaning the school for 6 years, had learned in 6 years the particular geography of each room and the particular atmosphere that each room held. She could read a classroom the way certain people read landscapes, the information encoded in the arrangement of things, the wear patterns on the floor, the particular distribution of marks on the desks. She came to clean the classroom at 4:30 on a Thursday. The other students had gone. Lucas was still there. He was sitting at his desk in the way she had seen him sit before, the particular sitting of someone who was in a place their body occupied, without their mind being present. His book was open. He had been looking at it. She understood from the position of his chair and the angle of his head. For a long time, she began to clean. She moved around the room with the efficiency of someone who had done this enough times. That the movement was automatic, which left her attention available for other things. She looked at the page Lucas was looking at. She looked at Lucas. She had a nephew. His name was Miguel, and he was 11 years old, and he had been for 6 of those years in the particular position of someone whose intelligence was visible and whose ability to demonstrate it on paper was not. She had sat with Miguel through the diagnosis, the specialist, the assessment, the particular word that explained 9 years of inexplicable difficulty. She knew what she was looking at. The letters move for you, don't they? She said. Not a question. Lucas looked up. He looked at her with the expression of someone who has been waiting for 9 years for a true thing to be said and has stopped believing it would be. Yes, he said. She sat down. Not at a student desk. She pulled the teacher's chair from the front of the room and sat across from him. With the particular directness of someone who had decided that this conversation required being at the same level. "My nephew," she said. "Miguel. He has the same thing." Lucas looked at her. "Dyslexia," she said. "That's what it's called. The letters moving, the words rearranging, the page that doesn't stay still. They told me to try harder," Lucas said. "I know," she said. They told Miguel the same thing. 4 years. "It doesn't help," Lucas said. "No," she said, "because trying harder is not the solution to dyslexia. It's like telling someone with poor eyesight to try harder to see." Lucas looked at the page. "Nobody," he said, "has ever explained it like that." "Nobody," Rosa said, "looked at you properly." He was quiet for a moment. "My father thinks I'm lazy," he said. "Your father doesn't know," Rosa said. "Does he?" "I told him once," Lucas said, "that the letters moved. He said I needed to focus." Rosa looked at the page, at the text that was, for Lucas, a moving hostile landscape rather than a sequence of meaning. "How do you manage?" she said. "In lessons. I listen," he said. "I remember what people say. I work things out from what I hear, and it works. For understanding things," he said. "Not for writing them down or reading them, but you understand what's being taught," she said. "Usually," he said. "Better than most of them, actually." A pause. "That's the part that makes it infuriating," she said. "Yes," he said. "I know," she said. "Miguel says the same thing." She went to the head teacher on the Friday morning, not because it was her place. She was clear-eyed about the fact that it was not, technically, her place. She cleaned classrooms. She was not a specialist or an educator or anyone whose opinion on educational matters carried professional weight. She went because she had sat across from a 14-year-old the previous afternoon and had seen something that 9 years of teachers and 3 tutors and a father who sent assistants to meetings had not seen, and because seeing it and doing nothing with it was not something she was willing to do. The head teacher, a woman named Dr. Morrison, who had the particular efficiency of someone who managed a complex institution and had learned to assess situations quickly, received Rosa with the polite wariness of someone being told something by a member of cleaning staff. She listened. Her expression changed. "You think Lucas has dyslexia?" she said. "I think Lucas has dyslexia," Rosa said. "Yes." "On what basis?" "My nephew was diagnosed at 11, Rosa said. "After 6 years of being called unmotivated." The description of what Lucas experiences, the letters moving, the page not staying still, is identical. Dr. Morrison looked at her. "We have had specialists. Has anyone asked him directly?" Rosa said. "Whether the letters move." A pause. "No," Dr. Morrison said. "Then," Rosa said, "I would suggest that is the next step." The educational psychologist was a woman named Dr. James, who had been assessing children for 22 years and who had, in those 22 years, developed the specific skill of distinguishing between children who would not engage and children who could not engage in the expected way. She assessed Lucas on a Wednesday afternoon, not with written tests, She had been briefed by Dr. Morrison, which meant she came with a different approach. The particular approach of someone who has been given a specific hypothesis to test. She talked to him. She asked him to describe what happened when he looked at text. He described it. She asked him to explain, verbally, the content of a passage she read aloud to him. He explained it with the particular precision of someone who had been listening carefully for 14 years because listening was the only reliable tool available to him. She asked him to solve 3 mathematical problems verbally. He solved them. She sat back. "Lucas," she said, "how long have the letters been moving?" "Since the beginning," he said. "Since I started school." "And you've never been assessed for dyslexia?" "I told my teacher at 5, he said. She said I needed to focus." Dr. James looked at her notes. "You have significant dyslexia," she said. "Severe. The kind that would have been identified immediately if anyone had asked the right question." "What's the right question?" He said. "Do the letters move?" she said. He looked at her. "Rosa asked that," he said. "The cleaner," she said. "Yes," he said. Dr. James wrote something in her notes. "She saw you," Dr. James said. "That matters." His father came to the school on a Thursday. Not his assistant, James himself, which was the first time he had come alone, without the particular buffer of someone else managing the logistics of his presence. He sat in Dr. Morrison's office and listened. He listened to the assessment results. He listened to the description of severe dyslexia, the specific way it worked, the specific way it had been missed, the specific 9 years of being called unmotivated by people who had not asked the right question. He was very still. "Who identified it?" he said. "A member of our cleaning staff," Dr. Morrison said. "She came to me on Friday morning. She has a nephew with the same condition. She recognized it." "A cleaner," he said. "Rosa Mendes," Dr. Morrison said. "She has been with the school for 6 years. James was quiet for a long moment. He thought about 7 calls to his office. He thought about 3 tutors. He thought about the most recent meeting and refuses to apply himself, and the head teacher saying he is remarkable in the engineering workshop. He thought about a 5-year-old telling a teacher that the letters moved and being told to focus. He told his first teacher, James said, that the letters moved. At 5 years old, "Yes," Dr. Morrison said. "We found the record, and nobody." "No," she said. "I'm sorry." He looked at the assessment, at the words severe dyslexia and significant verbal intelligence and exceptional spatial and mechanical reasoning. He thought about the engineering workshop. He thought about a 14-year-old who had been carrying this for 9 years. "I need to speak to Rosa Mendes," he said. She was cleaning the corridor when he found her. He introduced himself, which she knew was unnecessary. She knew who he was, but she noted that he introduced himself anyway, which told her something. "Thank you," he said, "for what you did for Lucas." "I just asked a question," she said. "Nobody else asked it," he said. "Nobody else was looking," she said. "I was looking." "Why were you looking?" She told him about Miguel. He listened the way she had noticed some people listened, completely, without the particular impatience of someone waiting to respond. "How is Miguel now?" he said. "He's 13, she said. "He has support, the right support. She paused. "He's becoming who he was always going to be. It just took someone seeing him first." James looked at the corridor. "I sent assistants for meetings," he said. "I know," she said. "I didn't see him," he said. "You didn't know what to look for," she said. "That's different, is it?" "Yes," she said. "It is. You know now. That's what matters." He looked at her. "What does Lucas need?" he said. "Specifically, what does Miguel need that changed things for him?" She told him. He listened. He took notes, actual notes, on his phone, with the focused attention of someone who had decided that this information was the most important thing he would receive today. "Thank you," he said, when she had finished, "for the notes. And for the question. Ask him about his drawings," she said. "His drawings? He draws," she said, "when he thinks nobody is watching. In the margins of his books. They're extraordinary." James looked at her. "How do you know?" "Because I clean the books off the desks," she said. "And I look." He asked Lucas about the drawings that evening. Not carefully. He had learned from Rosa that carefully was often the wrong approach. That the weight of carefulness communicated the weight of the situation. And that sometimes the most important things required the lightest touch. He sat across from Lucas at the kitchen table and said, "Show me your drawings." Lucas looked at him. "The ones in your books," James said. "The ones in the margins." Lucas was still for a moment. Then he went to his room. He came back with a sketchbook. James had not known about the sketchbook. He opened it. He looked at the first page. He turned to the second, the third. He sat at the kitchen table with his son's sketchbook and looked at what his 14-year-old had been doing in the margins of books and in a sketchbook nobody had been shown. And he understood, with the particular understanding of someone who has been looking at something incorrectly for a long time and has finally found the correct angle, what his son was. The drawings were architectural, precise, detailed, technically sophisticated architectural drawings, structures, buildings, bridges, the kind of spatial understanding that required not just artistic ability, but a specific intelligence about how things occupied space and bore weight and related to each other. At 14, without training, without anyone knowing, "Lucas," he said, single quotes, "yes. How long have you been drawing like this?" "Since I was 6, Lucas said. 6, James said. "I couldn't write things down," Lucas said. "So I drew them. What I understood, what I was thinking about." He looked at the sketchbook. "It was the only way I could show what you knew," James said. "Yes," Lucas said. James closed the sketchbook. He looked at his son. "I owe you an apology," he said. Lucas looked at him. "For the assistance," James said. "For not coming to the meetings. For not," he stopped. "For not seeing you. For 9 years." Lucas was quiet. "You didn't know," he said. "I should have looked harder," James said. "That's different." Lucas looked at the sketchbook. Rosa said that too. He said, "She's right." James said, "She usually is, apparently." Everyone had given up on him. The teachers, the tutors, the specialists, his father's assistants. He sat at the back of every class and stared at pages that would not stay still. For 9 years. Then a woman came to clean the classroom. She looked at the page. She looked at the boy. And she asked the one question nobody had asked. The letters move for you, don't they? Not a question, a recognition. Here is what we learned. The most important thing you can do for another person is look at them properly. Not with the look of someone who has already decided. Not with the look of someone who is managing a situation. With the look of someone who wants to know what is actually there. 9 years of teachers. 9 years of trying harder. 9 years of letters that would not stay still. One woman. One question. Everything changed. She was cleaning a classroom. She was also the most important person in that room. Look properly at the people around you, at the children in your life, at the ones who are struggling in ways you haven't understood yet. Ask the question nobody else is asking. The letters move for you, don't they? That is everything.